August, we want to bring you a feature here on the Megyn Kelly Show that we actually haven't done since starting on SiriusXM last month, and it is called Sound Up. It's where we highlight some sound, or now with YouTube, some video that we feel you need to hear or see. We have talked a lot recently about the parents who were targeted by the National School Boards Association as potential domestic terrorists that needed to be tracked using the Patriot Act. We also know this letter was coordinated beforehand with the Biden White House, and ultimately, the DOJ and the FBI said, yeah, we're on board. Let's get the parents. And they have not yet stood down. So that remains active, and that's actually the most problematic part. Thankfully, the letter itself, however, was retracted after a lot of blowback, and the School Boards Association has been embarrassed. But if you watch the media recently, you'd find a lot of support for that domestic terrorist designation for which the school board is now so sorry. Grabian, which does great work, put together a supercut. Watch and listen.
Violent looking, angry, spewing parents outside of these schools.
These actions could be the equivalent to a form of domestic terrorism.
This becomes a security crisis in a sense for the nation.
It is dangerous to our children when the parents themselves are the school bullies.
I think one of the worst things is the actions at the board meetings. The calling of names. Tyrant, Marxist, communist.
We've never seen anything like we're seeing at these school boards now. What on earth has happened in this country?
There's always the possibility that people will face criminal prosecution for this kind of conduct.
What does it mean that something that is generally boring and neutral, like a school board meeting, has become a locus for violence?
You look at the rage, the anger, you think, what is this doing to the children in those homes and their mental health?
Oh, my God. I'm sorry. What you look at the rage and the anger. Yeah, you mean from parents like Scott Smith, whose daughter was raped? Yeah, he was rageful. He was a lot more controlled than I would have been. I can guarantee you that. And 99% of parents, the guy who showed up at that Loudoun County school board meeting and was mocked roundly by journalists like that for getting upset when somebody called his rape victim daughter a bitch. Or actually, she questioned the story and he called her a bitch. And that's how he wound up ultimately in handcuffs. Now we know that guy was a grieving dad, worried about his daughter. And by the way, just this week, a judge found the 14-year-old who committed that sexual assault guilty before he was passed on to another school where he then allegedly raped another girl. Yeah, so parents are angry. It doesn't make them terrorists. And I'm really glad that that letter has been withdrawn, but it hasn't been withdrawn by the FBI or the DOJ. They stand by their threat that any parents committing, quote, violence are going to get it. Well, guess what? Not a single incident of violence was outlined in the letter that got them involved in the first place. So what are they talking about? And how do they even have jurisdiction? We're going to get into all of this tomorrow when our guest Michael Knowles, who's amazing, if you listen to him at the Daily Wire, you love him as much as I do, will be here. And that is the latest edition of Sound Up.